And then elbows in. If I was talking to a real beginner swimmer who's trying to work on efficiency, I'd talk about, you know, their head position in the water and their reaching with their hands to try to get themselves as long as possible. Those are the two things that I would really focus on. You know, you think about a human spine is curved because it needs to absorb, right? Well, a fish's spine is not. They don't need to absorb, so a fish's spine is completely flat and straight. Our job, if you really want to get efficiency, is to somehow try and get our spine to elongate when we're in the water. So that starts with the neck and the small of your back. You're really trying to just basically stretch yourself out. I mean, you're basically trying to make yourself as tall in the water as you can. You want to make yourself taller in the water than you are on land. How about this one for keep your knuckles out in front. If you're doing that, you're driving forward with your hand. So even when you're breathing, you're keeping this hand up on the surface of the water, or at least towards the surface of the water, as opposed to straight down. Okay, so that's kind of one cue is you want to stay back. All that really is balance. If I can roll to the side and I can keep my arm extended and I'm leading with my knuckles, okay, I'm going to be a lot more balanced in the water. Okay, so in other words, I'm just trying to minimize drag. So your deadlifts or your cleans, right? We talk about a chicken neck or a crane neck. Well, one of the reasons why that's such a problem is because you're disconnecting your spine, right? And people always forget that your neck is part of your spine. It's the same thing in the water. Your head or your chin designates where your hips are going to be. So in the water, you're in a natural state, right? So your spine always tries to stay in line. If I put my head down, my hips are going to want to come up on top of the water, okay, to keep that line. If I put my head up, which a lot of people do when they're first learning how to swim, they're swimming like this, your hips are going to try and naturally align, you're going to sink your hips. So when you see a lot of people doing that, so the cue I would give in terms of that is always try to keep your neck in line with your spine. So we talk about an elongated neck. Always try to keep your neck as long as possible, or in other words, try to keep your spine as long as possible in the water. That's really the simplest thing. And you can carry that forward when you're breathing. If I go to breathe and the first thing I do is lift my head up, every single time I do that, I'm fighting against my own stability. As opposed to if I just am able to roll but keep my neck in line and keep my neck nice and long, that's really what I want to do. Now that also allows you to reach a lot farther. If I'm swimming a lot straighter in the water, I can reach a lot farther when I'm swimming. So as opposed to that, what I was talking about is people going straight down into the water, okay? And you're constantly going up and down in the water. You're looking for that straight line. And we have all kinds of different cues depending on the age group and stuff too. We also take the idea of a laser pointer. You got a laser pointer right on the very tip of your head, and you're trying to point that laser right at the tee from the other side of the pool, right? Just different things like that. Really, what it all comes down to trying to make that spine as long as possible in the water. So if somebody's trying to learn how to swim and they're focused on their efficiency, I can tell you that's probably one of the first things they're doing is their neck is all over the place. The hard part there is the breathing. One of the first things people forget about in swimming, and I have national level kids who don't do this correctly, but one of the things to realize is, let's say you're a runner, you've never seen a runner, I hope, run down the track, holding their breath the whole time. But everybody who doesn't know how to breathe correctly in swimming holds their breath. So they're holding their breath underwater, they turn their head to the side, and you see the exhale and the inhale at the same time. So one thing to train yourself to do in swimming, if you're really trying to get more efficient, is learn how to always be either breathing out or breathing in. Whenever your head's underwater, you're always breathing out. When your head's out of the water, you're breathing in. That should be where the focus is. And you're going to find yourself have a ton more energy by not restricting your oxygen like that. As long as you're always breathing out and you want to breathe out slowly, and always breathing in, you want to breathe in quicker, you're always doing one of those two things. You're never holding your breath. And that's something that people forget too. So that's another thing that's going to help people's efficiency if you're learning how to get into the water and be more efficient. So. I always encourage people to breathe both sides. So I always pick an odd number, 3, 5, 7. Okay, so I'll typically have people breathe every 3 strokes, breathe every 5 strokes, breathe every 7 strokes. You really want to be, because that helps with the balance in the water. I mean, balance is what, number 9 on the 10 physical skills. Counts in the water too. So you want to be balanced. You don't want to just stay on one side the whole time. All right, so we're breathing both sides. Again, you're working on always breathing out or breathing in, never holding your breath. But yeah, I work on increasing that breathing pattern. And there's a place for it. I mean, we have people, you're not going to be able to go that fast once you start getting up to like 9, breathing patterns of 9. You know, so the harder you're breathing, you're going to have a lower breathing count, but you're going to want to stay on those odd numbers.